Welcome to the Z Zone, where random facts rule everything from mind-blowing history to science, tech, pop culture, and the stuff you never knew you needed to know. If it's strange, surprising, or straight up unbelievable, it lives right here. Fast facts, big surprises. This is Z Zone, where curiosity never clocks out. Hello, and welcome back. Another episode of Everything According to Z, where I give you those facts that you just don't think you need to know, but you really enjoy knowing them. Some funny, some serious, some awkward, some just out there. But housekeeping rules. We got to take care of housekeeping rules. You know the rules. Go to the page, like, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications. And after you do all three of those, share it to somebody else so they can do the same three things, like, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications so you can know every time a video drops and all this potent information that you're getting, you won't miss it. You don't want to miss this information. It's funny, it's hilarious. Some of it is questionable, some of it makes you think, did that really happen? Is it really true? But hey, we're here at the Z Zone giving you the facts of life. So let's get started with this one. Okay, let me ask you this. How on God's green earth does an entire country lose their prime minister? Let that sink in for a minute. They didn't lose a kid, they didn't lose a husband or wife or whatever. They lost the prime minister. If you're trying to figure this out, it was Australia. Australia lost their prime minister, Harold Holt. So they still have not found this man to this day. Supposedly, no one knows where he is. No one knows. There's been no bones, but he's just gone. Now, Australia lost their prime minister, Harold Holt. So the question is, technically he's gone. So they had to put someone else in place. But if he resurfaces, if he's alive and he resurfaces, does he take back the prime minister's spot? One. Two, how do you lose how do you lose the prime minister of the entire, how do you lose the prime minister? He has the best security. They know every time he moves, they know what color he pees, they know when he poops, they know when he throws up, they know if he coughs, they know his body temperature. But you're telling me you just up and lost this man? The math is not math in Australia. Help me out. Your security protocols are lacking. If you need help with your security protocols, give me a call. I'm sure we can work something out. But for real, Australia, you lost your prime minister. And you have not found him yet. Let's get it tight. Okay. Here's another one. You heard somebody say, man, you're killing me. Or, man, let's kill some time. Okay, so talk about killing time. Well, picture this. July 21st, 1865. The pocket watch. Yes, the pocket watch. The pocket watch caused the first duel. Quick draw duel, that is. They use a pocket watch to keep when people go. But why was people dueling in the first place in July 21st of 1865? Well, Bill Hickok and Davis Tutt had a gambling debt. Davis Tutt dead, shot by Bill Hickok. Over again. Have you heard the phrase that, man, this debt is killing me? Well, literally, Davis Tutt debt killed him. Well, he died because of his debt, pretty much. Basically, man, debt is killing me. Davis Tutt died because he was in debt to Bill Hickok. And the first recorded time of this was on a stopwatch. A pocket watch, however you want to call it, a pocket watch. Okay, let's keep moving. Let's talk about it. Running from your past, or let's say deep family issues. Did you know that as a first black deputy U.S. Marshal, Bass Reeves arrested over 3,000 outlaws? Okay, what did I do with running from your family issues or having deep family time or having deep family issues or running from your past? Well, this deputy this deputy U.S. Marshal Bass Reeves not only did he arrest 3,000 outlaws, he arrested his own son. When no other deputy marshal wanted to arrest this man, Deputy Bass said, "You know what? I got it." So in 1902, this man arrested his own son for murder. That's some deep family issues right there. Hey, somebody had to catch him, I guess. Why not father? But then that begs a difference. Father like son, son like, because this can't be the same. Like that apple fell far from the tree. One's an outlaw, one's a U.S. deputy marshal, one's an outlaw. Yeah, not everybody always the apple does fall far from the tree sometimes. Well, let's move on to the next one. Huh. Have you ever heard the saying, "I would love to be a fly on the wall to hear what's going on"? Well, there was one fly you probably wished you was not when this happened. Huh. This fly was there for the historical event. The event the event that this fly was there for was the death of Pope Adrian IV. So do you really want to be a fly on the wall when the Pope dies? I mean, the Pope died, and did they question the fly? Did they see the fly? Well, technically, they couldn't because the Pope Adrian IV choked on very said fly. I mean, I'm not making this up. I'm just telling you, Pope Adrian IV died from choking on a fly. So, did they put the fly to death for that? Did he serve prison time? I mean, you killed the Pope. So, what's the repercussions for the fly? We have to find it out. Let's do a part two of that one and find out what happened to that fly that killed Pope here, that killed Pope Adrian IV. All right, here's a really weird one. This is a weird and insane one. King George II. Yes, King George II. Well, we all know he died, but you know that song, Salt and Pepper, push it real good. Well, King George must have knew that song was coming out sometime later on because he was pushing it really good and really hard in the bathroom and died. Well, good old King George pushed a little too good because he passed away on the toilet doing a bowel movement. So hey, FYI, don't push it too hard, or it could be you next. Okay, so have you ever wondered where teddy bears got their name from, how it came about, like the origin story of the teddy bear? Well, I know the origin story of the teddy bear. Do you want to hear the origin of the story of the teddy bear? I'm gonna tell it to you anyway. So listen here, very carefully. The teddy bear. It was 1902. We had a president that loved to hunt. Do you know who that Do you know who that president was in 1902 that just loved to hunt? Yes, Theodore Roosevelt. What does Theodore Roosevelt got to do with teddy bears? Well, it was said that President Theodore Roosevelt and his men were out hunting. There was a bear that was stuck in a trap. Well, President Roosevelt didn't want to kill the bear, had remorse, felt sorry, and said, "Let the bear go." So all the men was like, "Oh, President Roosevelt is soft. President Theodore Roosevelt is kind and soft and all that." So they went out and got these stuffed animals and start calling them teddy bears because of President Theodore Roosevelt. So the name of the teddy bear, the name for the bear everybody called teddy bears, came from your President Theodore Roosevelt because he could not kill a bear that was trapped. Now, I have a very weird one. This is about economics. What's so weird about economics is that, well, we know the Russians love vodka. Well, did you know that during the economic collapse in Soviet Russia, bottles of vodka were often replaced the nearly worthless ruble for labor and services? So they actually got paid to, they actually got, so what they're saying basically is that during the collapse of the economy in Soviet Russia, that the workers got paid in bottles of vodka. I mean, like, damn. We can't pay you, so we'll let you just go ahead and drink yourself silly and come back to work tomorrow and do it all over again. Hey, it is not my story to tell, but that's how it happened. So let's keep going a little bit more. Let's go a little bit more. Okay, so France has some really, really weird rules and laws. And in fact, this law about France really had me thinking. This law is called the post modus marriage. So pretty much you can legally marry a person that's dead in France. This law was fast tracked in the 1950s. So what happened was, let me tell you what happened. So the law was fast tracked in the 1950s after a dam burst and a woman's fiance died in the flood. So France was like, hey, since your fiance died in the flood, we know he wanted to marry you. Not only was she devastated, but the president allowed the ceremony to proceed. So in France, the law is if your fiance dies, you can still legally marry that person post-mortem. The catch is you have to prove that the deceased person actually intended to marry you while they were alive and that the president must personally sign off on it. So apparently they don't have to be your fiance, but if y'all were dating, y'all had discussed getting married, and they died, you can go to the president of France and explain this to them, and if they find enough cause, they will let you marry that person even though they're dead. They said to death do us part. I guess in France they don't take that part of the ceremony. It's just it's just for health. It's like, was it for richer or for poor, for better or for worse? I mean, they just gonna say, well, no, we're not doing a death do us part because even if you're dead, you're not getting out of this marriage. Hey, again, these ain't my laws. These are laws that I have found funny, and I think they're cute. They're funny. Okay, let's wrap it up. Let me give you a couple more. We're gonna wrap it up. Okay. Now we had a vodka payment system for the Soviet Russia. Well, did you know that there was an edible capital? Well, no, not the drugs, not those kind of edibles. It was another edible. So hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Picture this: in the 1200s, and as recently as 2009, Parmesan cheese wheels. Yes, the edible capital, a Parmesan cheese wheel. Here's a story. In Italy, specifically in the 1200s, and eventually, and even as recently as 2009, banks have accepted wheels of Parmesan cheese as collateral for loans. And here's why the collateral. Here's why they let cheese be so Why they let here's why they let cheese be collateral. A single wheel of cheese could be worth hundreds of dollars as and requires roughly 550 liters of milk to produce. So this cheese is very costly to make. It's 550 liters of milk to produce this wheel of cheese. So the banks are like, hey, you give some wheel of cheese, we'll give you credit collateral for your loan. I mean, it says we're in 2026. This was from 1200s to 2009. So maybe they're still doing it. Maybe they're not. I don't know. I will find out when I go there and let y'all know. Okay. Last one for the night. Last one for this show. Queen Mary's borrowing habit. Where are you going? Where are you going with this, Z? Well, let me tell you about Queen Mary's borrowing habit. Queen Mary, the grandmother to Elizabeth II, was known for visiting people's homes and admiring their valuables. What's the bad part about that? And where does the borrowing come in at? Well, she admired so intensely that the host felt obligated to give them to her. So the host gave her the items. So was it really borrowing? Well, let's keep going. Friends eventually started hiding their best antiques before she arrived to avoid losing them. Ha. So she would go somewhere, admire it, and because she's the queen, the people whose house she was in felt obligated to give it to her because she liked so much. So all her friends like, hey, queen's coming over, hide the good stuff. That's why people hide the good china now these days. This is why. This is why people have that little area in their dining room that's a good china. No, that good china, they don't come out. They don't come out for no reason but special occasions. But if the queen's coming over, that china's gonna be put up in here. Because she ain't finna get our china. No, she ain't getting our china. That's mama's good china. You ain't giving it to her. And on that note, I say to you, when people come over your house, hide your good china. Thank you. Have a good day. I'll see you next week on Everything According to Z.